Ever since he was saved, he hadn't sinned for 40 years, and we began to discuss this, and I began to be exasperated, and as a New Yorker, I can be rough. I apologize if I offend anybody. I'm sorry. That's my sausage of rationalization this morning, okay? I'm rough. I'm from the streets. This guy's telling me he's without sin, and a girl walks by with no bra, and I said, now when you see that, you're going to tell me there's no sin? He said, no, I make a mistake, but I don't sin. So I have the schmarts. I said, in other words, what used to be sins are now mistakes. He said, yeah. So being a New Yorker, what I did was, with my foot, the heel of my shoe, come down on his toes as hard as I could. He reared back. And I said, you've sinned now. You just got angry. And the look came across his face, and he ran up the subway stairs and never saw him again. You will never be free from battling sin. Sinless perfection is a myth. When you get the notes, you can look at it in fuller detail. Secondly, another reason why we have to deal with temptation is the fact the devil is alive and well on planet Earth. That's why the Apostle Paul says we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. Now, the word devices simply meant his game book. Any of you were old fans of the series, The Coach, that television series. If you remember when they accidentally left the game book with all the plays for the team in a restaurant, and it was picked up by the coach of the very team they were going to be playing. Well, the Bible exposes to us what are the schemes, the methods by which Satan seeks to destroy individuals, families, churches, and nations. That's why I wrote a whole book on Satan's devices. He has methods that work and have worked well, and he uses them over and over and over again. He has studied human psychology. He knows us, and he knows how to approach us so that we must not be ignorant of his devices. I'll just mention one, 2 Corinthians 2. He says, bitterness in the church in which you will not forgive someone who failed, who was disciplined, and then receive them back in that they have repented. That kind of bitterness is a device of Satan to destroy the peace and the unity and the love within a church. So there are many devices that we found. And then thirdly, Christians are tempted because the world is deliberately trying to provoke us to evil. We once lived according to the fashions and fads of this world, Ephesians 2, and the world seeks to squeeze us into its own mold, Romans 12 and verse 2. We have to resist our own culture. We have to be revolutionists. We always must be the counterculture. We are the rebels. We do not go with the status quo. We're not interested in that. We are always going to be thorns in the side of our culture because we don't want what they want. We do not love the world nor the things that are in the world. Well, then how do you deal with temptation? There are several biblical principles that you must remember. Number one, let no one claims when he's tempted to do sin that God is tempting him. James 1:13 through 15, never blame God for evil and never praise man for good. Every good and perfect gift comes from God. And if you're discussing evil, look in a mirror. LSD. Lust, sin, and death. So don't think the Lord is doing this. He is not interested in tempting you to do evil. Secondly, remember that self-pity is inexcusable in the Christian, for the Bible tells us that when we are tempted, the kinds of things that tempt us are common to people at large, to many, many men.